Book of Jehovah, in which is revealed the three great worlds, realms, corpora, atmospheria, and etheria. As in all other Bibles, it is revealed that this world was created. So in this Bible, Oahspe, it is revealed how the Creator created it. As other Bibles have proclaimed heavens for the spirits of the dead, behold, this Bible reveals where these heavens are and the manner, glory and work that the spirits of the dead enjoy, and through which the wisdom, power, love, and glory of the Almighty is magnified for the understanding of man. Chapter 1, Jehovih. All was, all is, all ever shall be. The all spoke, and motion was, and is, and ever shall be. And being positive was called he and him. The all motion was his speech. He said, I am, and he comprehended all things, the seen and the unseen. Nor is there anything in all the universe that is not part of him. He said, I am the soul of all, and all that is seen is part of my person and my body. By virtue of my presence, all things are. By virtue of my presence, life is. By virtue of my presence, the living are brought forth into life. I am the quickener, the mover, the creator, the destroyer. I am first and last. I am two apparent entities. Nevertheless, I am only one. These entities are the unseen, which is potent, and the seen, which is of itself impotent and called corpora. With these two entities, in likeness of myself, through them I made all the living. For as the life is a potent part, so the corporeal part is the impotent part. Chief over all that live on the earth, I made man. Male and female I made them. And so that man could distinguish me, I commanded him to give me a name. By virtue of my presence, I commanded him. And man did not name me after anything in heaven or on the earth in obedience to my will. He named me after the sounds the wind utters. And he said, Eoi. Hey, who we're reading? E-O-I? E-O-I? Nigga. We'll talk about that later. Which is now pronounced Jehovih or Jehovih. Hey, gotta listen to the wind, my nigga. You wouldn't know unless you listen to the wind. Chapter 2, Jehovih, Jehovih. Said, by virtue of my presence, I created the seen and unseen worlds. And I commanded man to name them, and man called the seen worlds corpora and the unseen worlds es. And the inhabitants of corpora man called corporeans. But the inhabitants of es he sometimes called Esseans. And sometimes spirits, and sometimes angels. Jehovah said, I created the earth and fashioned it and placed it in the firmament, and by my presence brought man forth a living being. I gave him a corporeal body so that he could learn corporeal things, and I made death so that he could rise in the firmament and inherit my ethereal worlds. To es I gave dominion over corpora. With es I filled all places in the firmament, even within corpora. But corporate I made into earth, moon, stars, and suns. Behold, Salakia, beyond number, I made them, and I caused them to float in the places I allotted to them. S, I divided into two parts, and I commanded man to name them, and he called one Etheria and the other Atmospheria. These are the three kinds of worlds I created: corporeal, atmospherian, and Etherian. But I gave different densities to atmospherian worlds and different densities to the Etherian worlds. For the substance of my Etherian worlds, I created Eth, the most rarefied. Out of the Ether, I made them, or ether. Ether? Is that what we're trying to? Hey, ether? Ether without the R, my nigga. Just read it. Out of the ether, I made them. And I made ether the subtleness of all created things, and gave it power and place, not only by itself, but also power to penetrate and exist within all things. Even when the corporeal worlds and to ether I gave dominion over both atmospheria and corpor. Okay, we have right here. Etheria, Jehovah said, for the substance of my Etherian worlds I created ether, the most rarefied. Okay, that's what the spirit caused him to draw. I'm guessing the spirit caused him to draw this, so that's what we're saying. For the substance of my Etherian worlds I created ether, the most rarefied. Out of ether I made them, and I made ether the subtleness of all created things, and gave it power and place, not only by itself, but also power to penetrate and exist within all things, even within the corporeal worlds, and to ether I gave dominion over both atmospheria and corpor. In the all highest places I created the Etherian worlds, and I made them of all shapes and sizes, similar to my corporeal worlds, but I made the Etherian worlds inhabitable, both within and without, with entrances and exits in arches and curves, thousands of miles high and wide, and in colors, movable chasms and mountains in endless change and brilliancy. And over them I rule, as in a present participle, and all perfect mechanisms. To them I gave motions, orbits, and courses of their own, and I made them independent and above all other worlds in potency and majesty. Nor did I create one Etherian world like another in size, density, or in component parts, but every one differing from another and with a glory matchless, each in its own way. I also created atmospherian worlds in the firmament and gave them places, orbits, and courses for themselves. But atmospherian worlds I created shapeless and without fixed form, for they are in the process of condensation or dissolution, being intermediate in condition between my Etherian and my corporeal worlds. Of 3 degrees of density I created them, and I commanded man to name them, and one he called J, and one Agi, and one Nebulae. We have forms of looking like snowflakes, as I'm sure sound and light manipulate hydrogen molecules as they crystallize. Hey, it's a picture. I'm gonna read what the picture. Snowflakes. It says snowflakes. Snowflakes Jehovah said, I created the corporeal worlds, round in shape, with land and water, and I made them impenetrable, for I bring forth the living on the surface of them. Man should not imagine that my ethereal worlds are also round and impenetrable. For of all I have created, I created no two alike. Now it came to pass in the lapse of time that the atmospherians so loved the lower heavens that they did not strive to ascend to the emancipated heavens of the Nirvana. Never having reached the bridge of Chinvat, but they often returned to the earth and conversed with Corporeans, and they lauded the glories of even the lower heavens. So that man looked up in wonder because of the magnificence of the Father's works. Yet these were bound spirits. Then Jehovah made the snowflakes and caused it to fall, so that man could behold the beauty and glory of his formation. And he sent Ethereans down from the emancipated heavens, and these taught man that whatever glory he had yet heard of was as darkness is to light. Compared to the beauty and majesty of the Etherian worlds. And the Ethereans held up snowflakes, saying, In the name of Jehovah, we declare to you that the Etherian worlds are larger than the earth, and penetrable, full of roadways of crystals and arches and curves and angles, so that were man to travel 1,000,000 years on one alone, he could not see half his beauty and glory. And the firmament of heaven has tens of billions of Etherean worlds. Look at the snowflakes as though they were microscopic patterns of the worlds in high heavens, and you shall tint them like a rainbow. And people them with countless millions of angels, spotless, pure, holy, and rich in the knowledge of Jehovah and his works, and full of the majesty of his love. Atmospherians reside in the lower heavens and are called bound spirits, because they are bound to atmospheria till they are emancipated. But all of them are composed of the same substance, because Slakia, being like the earth, but rarefied, nor is there on earth or in it one thing, whether iron, lead, gold, water, oil, or stones, that is not also in my atmospherian worlds. As I have given light to the earth, so have I given light to many of them, and all these I have commanded man to call comets. And he named them so. And I also created atmospheria around my corporeal worlds. Together I made them. Earth and atmospheria, as seen through spiritual eyes. Looking up like this, bitch. Looking up like this, bitch. Looking down like this, bitch. I don't fucking know. Hey, as above, so below, my nigga. And I also created atmospheria around my corporeal worlds. Together I made them. Jehovah has said, around my corporeal worlds I place atmospheria. For as the earth and other corporeal worlds provide a womb for the spirit of man, so have I made the substance of atmospheria. to be a womb for the souls of men. And Jehovah made the atmosphere of the earth with a circumference of 1,504,000 miles, with the earth floating in the center of it. The earth is the black center, and the surrounding swirled graduations of gray. Her atmosphere, the rings, symbolize plateaus. The outer rim, Shin Vat. That is the end of chapter 2.